They are powerful, giant-sized apes who are worshipped as gods amongst the tribes of their native lands, until one freak accident or event sent them on a journey that either ended their days or gave them a new purpose. But in a fight, who was the strongest Ape King? Chaos, the god of decay, and King Kong, the eighth wonder of the world. Okay, the rules in this fight. I'll only be using information for King Kong from the movies, since none of the shows actually fit into the same story or canon. If we did use the show that played in the 2000s is technically not King Kong fighting. It's a person who fused with King Kong's mind. And if we go with the show that played in 1966, the cartoon isn't canon to any point of the franchise. I'm on Fish Mob, and it's my job to see who would win in a fight. The New Earth, devastated by a series of cataclysmic events. Through the deaths and destruction of old Earth, deities in the shape of dinosaurs and other prehistoric creatures have now started to wage war on each other to claim dominance over this new world. But none of them are as infamous, as disgusting, and as shocking as the god of decay, Chaos. But it wasn't always like this. Chaos was the mightiest witch doctor on the first continent, who coveted the power of the other ape god, Blizzard. Thus, this started his quest to make his greatest wish a reality, to control the evolution of humanity. In his quest for power, he casted a mighty spell which backfired big time, and turned himself into a disgusting beast. That beast would be, what else? A giant ape. The new creature, now known as Chaos, was forced to wallow in its own excrement for eons. But during the cataclysm, Chaos prayed to the god of Carrion, Sarashti, for release. However, to restore his greatness, he had to defeat all of his enemies, the other deities of the New Earth. As a fighter, like his fellow deities, his attacks specially designated only to him. He prefers keeping his opponents at a distance. The moveset of his complements it. The grab and throw is a completely unblockable throwing move in which Chaos grabs the opponent by the neck and tosses them to the ground. The ground shaker is when Chaos jumps and lands on the ground, creating an earthquake which tends to throw his opponent away from him. The flying butt slam is where Chaos jumps and lands on his opponent with his rear end. And finally, the battering ram. Chaos puts his shoulder out and charges. He can volley his opponent if it hits. As a result of being in his own excrement for eons, he developed powers and finishers that are based around bodily waste or other bodily functions. The power puke is when Chaos pukes a blob of green vomit that can either be spit out as a slow projectile or a fast projectile. And the fart of fury. To do this, Chaos sticks his end up and ejects a poisonous, slow-moving green cloud, which will stun the opponent briefly. But in order to finish a fight, he can use one of 3 fatalities. The most infamous fatality he has is the Golden Shower, in which Chaos raises a leg and urinates acid that eats the opponent all the way to the bone. The Cannonball is when Chaos does a cannonball jump into nearby water, lethally poisoning the water supply. When Chaos performs the Churl, he does an extremely slow power puke and walks off the edge of the screen, emerging on the other side to suck the puke back in. Presumably, this grosses his opponent to death. Throughout his entire life as a deity, he defeated other countless numbers of his fellow deities, and finally conquered the New Earth. But he has one weakness that really holds him back. In combat, he is not a good close-quarter combatant. If his opponent manages to get in close, it could give them the upper hand in the fight. And he can and most certainly will be defeated. But still, this is one thing you do not want to go ape shit on you. You see what I did there? Skull Island, a land isolated from the flow of time. Giant insects, dinosaurs, and prehistoric mammals still live here as if nothing has changed. The native tribe here has many legends, but nothing is as true as the legend of the ape god Kong. Kong is the last remaining member of a once existing race of giant gorillas called what else? Kongs. Although the stories are usually told differently, they all have the same premise. A group of people come to Skull Island looking to film there or get a money-making resource, but they are slowly killed off by the native wildlife as the female lead is carried off by Kong. They eventually capture the ape and bring him back to New York, where he escapes and goes on a rampage looking for the one he loves. Even though he is considered a godlike entity to the Skull Island natives, he has no special abilities, but he has natural abilities which he uses at his disposal. His greatest strength in combat is his brute strength. With his strength, he is capable of going toe-to-toe with creatures that are reasonably stronger or more equipped for combat than he is. He can smash bone and can tear out metal chains and break out of steel cuffs. Even though it is primitive, King Kong's intelligence allows simple thought, emotions, and feelings like love, anger, joy, and loneliness. And in his battle with Godzilla, he gained a new power in which he gained strength from electric shock, and can temporarily use electricity to zap his opponents just by touching them. And as an ape, he can maneuver around his jungle home or the city, swinging through trees, climbing on rock walls or buildings, swinging on vines. But he can't just use those things in combat without something else to boost their effectiveness. His large canine teeth can sink into flesh like knives, and his fists are strong enough to destroy concrete structures, just toss large boulders, and put massive dents into metal. And he can also scale the Empire State Building and World Trade Center from the bottom all the way to the top without being tired out too badly, if not at all. No one should judge King Kong based only on appearance. He may look weak, but he has defeated countless numbers of enemies, defeated 3 V-Rexes while juggling a woman in his hands, survived the falling off of the World Trade Center, with some help from medical professionals of course, and defeated the king of the monsters himself, Godzilla. But even with all of those impressive feats, King Kong is susceptible to normal weaknesses that is standard to monsters around his size. He has been drugged on multiple occasions, can die from extreme heights if he falls, can be killed by normal gunfire and bullets. But his greatest weakness is the fact that other than his size, he is just a normal animal. He is not truly a god or godlike entity, just a really big gorilla. But hey, even with that said, there's a reason why he is called the King of the Apes. So why did King Kong win? Chaos definitely held the advantage in long-range combat, and held slight speed advantage, but in the end, King Kong easily held the size and strength advantage, and had experience fighting more powerful opponents, and easily gaining more victories. And even though Chaos did a good job at keeping Kong at a distance, King Kong was far more experienced in fighting. But no matter how many things he did to keep King Kong away from him, Kong was ultimately able to overpower Chaos and get in the finishing blow. And when Kong got his electrical powers, it was pretty much game over right there and then. Looks like Kong still rules over the island. The winner is King Kong.